Right, so say good morning. It is a freezing cold, wet morning here in Oskbøl.
Yeah.
I think that's how you say it. We're running slightly late, so we need to get a move on. Just waiting for Andy to lock up the house. The bikes are all packed. We were thinking of riding over to the start for our UCI gravel race this morning, but as I say, it's pissing with rain. It's freezing. So we decided for the warmth of the car, let's get on with it.
Nothing like a bit of last minute stress, hey Andy. I mean, Sam.
Fuck me, mate. Can't get this wheeling. What is wrong with that?
Do you want to put it up?
The right way up.
Might be easier.
I'm trying to think of everything I need.
Right. Andy, how cold is it?
F***ing cold.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that for YouTube, but it's cold as.
Computer says 6 degrees, it feels worse.
Less. Cold, rainy, windy,
Oh,
all the best weather conditions. Hopefully we have enough layers and enough caffeine to keep us warm.
Absolutely.
How many gels you got there? He's got gels stuffed in every region. We had a little bit of a mistake. Andy left his front wheel.
Big error, sorry to the boys.
Left his front wheel at the apartment when we were halfway here, which meant that we needed to do a little handbrake turn and spin it back. We made it here before the start. It's still raining. We hoped the rain would have passed, but yeah, time to go and line up.
Luck, mate. See you out there, dude. Feeling good? Bloody cold. Freezing!
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Right, so here we go, third round of the UCI Gravel World Series here in the eastern Denmark in Blavens. The first ever running of the event on the beaches facing out to the North Sea. Here we're on the start line, as you can see, the countdown began and we waited on the start line. That's just how far back. Not being given a gridded position on the start meant that, yeah, we were quite a long way back. If you missed the last video, I would recommend you watch it before this one. We explained who we'd be racing up, including names such as Kasper Askren from Sudal Quickstep. One of the main aims for this race, for me specifically, was to obviously try for my best result possible, get stuck in, see where I could get up to, but also crucially finish within the top 25% of the field to try and qualify for the Gravel World Championships in Italy. So race gets underway. As you can see, it's pretty carnage from the start. There are people all over the place, some people who probably shouldn't have started so close towards the front but did, and very quickly we headed towards this beach section, the sand section, including this guy who, I don't know, yeah, words fail me. UCI, is this really acceptable? Standing in the circuit with a dog, a bit starstruck. The organisers had very kindly provided this probably about 1 meter wide stretch of plastic so we could actually kind of ride over some of it. Thousands of people trying to get to the front of the race. Just imagine, with all this carnage of people running, how far ahead what the front were, and it was down to us to try and restrict the gap and try and get back to them. So yeah, single file for all these little technical bits. It was fun getting elbows out once again, trying to chase up to the group. You can see here, really putting the hammer down, hitting the front and trying to get across the peloton, which was now scattered all across the road. I found myself within this group who were working quite well together, and then finally made it up to the front group who at this point weren't actually going that fast. Before we knew it, we took this left-hand turn, and my goodness, this section was a crosswind and it was carnage. I don't know if you can see it from these images, but we were going pretty much full gas here, and I spotted this pairing. I think they're Dutch riders with the fluoro orange bikes. I think I raced them on Basel on the beach. Decided to try and stick in with them, but before I knew it, there was a big gap to the group ahead, and I knew that this moment was now or never. So I really put the watts down and closed the gap. I'm not sure if anyone came across to me, but got across to it. I was absolutely on my limit here, absolutely clinging on for dear life with people letting the wheel go in front of me, having to go around them frustratingly. Finally came off this really long, I think it was over 6k straight crosswind section, and onto these really grippy gravel sandy sections, not forgetting mud, my favorite bit. I have a lot of struggle in the mud, and as you can see, losing this group over the muddy sections, I actually, on this section, every lap, kind of slipped and almost fell off, and ended up bending my saddle down and having to kind of yank it upright again and really elbows out. You can see the race was still on here, probably about 20 kilometers in at this point, to the 55-kilometer lap out of a total of 155 kilometers. This section, I mean, look how deep the sand is. Lots of people crashed here. Really, really deep sand. Sand is incredibly difficult to ride on, as I've learned a few times this year, for making it onto the open sand, the very windy section. You can see here we're doing a bit of cross-windy echelons to try and shelter from the wind. It was this section where actually the day before, if you'd watched that video, you would have seen I had a little bit of a crash just here. Luckily, it had rained all night, and actually a little bit during race day, which meant that the sand was actually a little bit more compact, which made a lot of difference. So I was restricted a little bit for recording time during this race, obviously being a few hours long. We skipped forward here to, I think, the last lap. I ended up looking over my shoulder with one lap to go and seeing the train of Kasper Asgreen absolutely flying on behind me. Decided to sit out. It was a good decision, because when he had finally caught me, I had taken the opportunity to down a couple of gels, a bit of food, and then try and settle in to the pace that he was setting for the last 55 kilometers. So you can see here, heading into the single track for the last section, losing the wheel a little bit on the muddy section, and then going once again back onto the sandy beach. I don't know if Kasper has a background in cyclocross, but it certainly looks so, the way that he rode this sand section, and then absolutely put the hammer down on the beach and spat half the group before Nicholas Roach came back and we had a bit of a chat. I think by this point everyone was pretty shelled. Speaking for myself, I was just excited for the race to be over. I think a lot of people really struggle with the conditions. I think it went down to 2 degrees wet. Oh, about 15k to go now. Absolutely ruined. Look at the state of me. Love Denmark. So coming into the final few kilometers, Kasper and Nicholas were just taking it in turns on the front. Fair play to Team Live Pro Cycling, who had one of their girls right up there in the front group, pulling turns even with what was left of our group right into the finish. Some people deciding to sprint, some people not deciding to sprint. I got rolled by a Ribble rider. There we go, crossing the line. Some relief. Just wait until you see the state of me recorded here by a good friend who took my GoPro and got a few shots.
Bro, look at the state of me. Mate, your whole body, whole feet and legs. I can't actually open my eyes. I've got so much grit in them. What was the best part of it? Riding with Kasper Asgreen. Well done, mate. Good to ride. Good to ride with someone for a bit of it. How was that, dude?
Tough.
He's alive.
I'm alive.
He needs a jacket.
Yeah, thanks for the company today.
No, mate, thank you. It was, I would say it was fun, but I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't fun. I did think about coming off the bike a few times,
yeah.
But I was like, no. I was also looking if there was like maybe some stand with a hot dog or something, but
yeah.
None of that either.
Dude, what is that?
I don't know, there's a mix of chocolate, meat.
Time for a shower.
Definitely.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah,
Smashed
buddy.
it, bro. You did it.
I'm gonna be honest, I think that was the worst bike ride I've ever done, bar none.
Wow.
And I don't want to do it again. Danish people are great.
Yeah.
Denmark is great.
Yeah.
Just riding bikes here is not great.
I don't think the bikes are ever gonna be the same ever again.
My fingers are not like functional enough to undo my shoes, and there's too much sand in them.
Some help. Still got sand absolutely everywhere though. And I think I will do for the next week.
I ate all but one of my gels, and I think I brought 14.
Really?
Yeah.
Good effort. Holy shit. Mate, so the state of me afterwards, I've rinsed out my clothes about 15 times. Finally clean enough to go in the washing machine. And now time to give the bikes a rinse for the second time. For you, number 3?
Yes, that's one.
So it's now the day after we have made the drive all the way back east to Copenhagen. The sun's come out. It feels like we're in the peak of summer. Ooh. Feast, mate.
Oh, look at this big orange bag.
So we found these donkey bikes, as they're called. I've just unlocked this one. We're gonna go and have a little bit of an explore around town. We've given up on a bike. He's on a scooter. So really nice to get on a bike, even if it was for a quick hour and a little explore around town. And an update from the race was that my finishing position yesterday was 24th in the age category, which is a little bit better than I expected, and I was pretty happy with that. But most importantly, that means I finished inside the top 30, which means that I've also qualified for the Gravel World Championships, which is a huge relief, and obviously an aim that I had for this year, but I didn't expect to get it done on the first attempt.